Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you? Well,
Morning.
we are ready for start to the starting of this webinar, organizing the framework of the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion. This time, as you know, we are organizing some webinars in during this week. This is the third one. The one from yesterday was cancelled. But well, today the topic is this, no, the social reintegration through employment programs. We will be showcasing some good practices submitted in the call for good practices of the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion. And well, we are going to to follow this order. So thank you all. Thank you all for your collaboration and contribution. So this space is just for the members to know about other good practices and well, just to give an opportunity to the other good practices submitted in the call to present their projects and also why not start collaborations with other members. This webinar will be recorded, so it will be available in the YouTube channel of the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion, so more people can access the information afterwards because our availability is limited as we know. So okay. We are going to start with the initiative of phone with Mamen. So I give you the floor directly. If you can, are you okay, Mamen? Are you ready?
Could you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Because I am in the middle of a fair in Padova, so I have a lot of noise here and have to give you
No,
my.
it's okay. It's perfect.
Yes, I would like to talk about phone. I will share with you my presentation. It was a project that starting on 2018. Could you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me. Okay. Now? Yes, no? Okay. From starting, as I said, in 2018, it was focused on young people and employability of young people from 18 till 29 years old. Using a methodology, it was quite innovating in the field of the outdoors methodology to foster the skills, but the motivation, the soft skills, really, motivation, self-esteem. They are young people that they are not study or working at this time. And we trained during this project almost 1,000 students. It was a project financed, as you can see, by the ER Norway grants, and it was 4,300,000 euros, more or less. We collaborate with the University of Edinburgh. It was the experts in that field. With the University of the Ireland, Toulouse. They also have a pilot in Ireland. Also in Poland, the coordinator was the CIE, the Center of Innovative Education, but also with the Bank of Austin. And in France and in Spain with the Cantabria's government. In Spain, it was developed mainly in Cantabria, in the area of Picos de Europa. If you don't know that area, it's fantastic. I recommend you because it's the mountains and the place is incredible, as you can see them in the pictures. Um, the focus of the project, as I said, it was young people. They are not studying, they are not working. In Spain at this time, we have a lack of motivation in the field of the employability. They are not prepared for the labor market. And the project consists on like three parts. The first is the outdoors activity itself. It was 7 days, 5 days walking, with one-to-one sessions and local sessions during the sessions, the outdoor sessions. But also is combined with coaching after the outdoors period and with mentoring during 6 months. So it's a complex methodology, not only focused on outdoors, but outdoors is for sure the most important part. And I can see it in my personally, I see how they are crying when they finish the experience in outdoors, and it is quite uh, shock the impact that they have in these young people, because they are out of the any electronic devices. They are disconnected for all the things that they have at house, the games, the family. So it's experience. It's an experience. I have to say. They starting the outdoors experience in this place. It was Tama. It was like houses, youth houses of the Cantabria's government. And then they have like a expedition of 5 days for all the mountains. They have to take with them the backpack. In the backpack, they have the tents, the food that they have to cook for themselves. They are like self autonomous, I can, let's say, and they have all they need in the backpack. After this, as I said, the coaching sessions, it was 50 hours of job placement, and they had a lot of experience during the coaching. They visited companies of the region. They offer we offer them a lot of sessions with NGOs of the area to focus if they want to be volunteer, how to be a volunteer. And also the mentoring was online during 6 months, just in case they need anything, any recommendation, any suggestion. The methodology have like an action plan for them. So they starting working with these people at the beginning of the expedition. They decided what they are going to do with their lives, what would like to do with their lives. And during the coaching, we try to give them the tools to address that purpose. And during the mentoring, we are recommending and suggesting how to develop all that knowledge. We also have a lot of complementary activities. We organize business meeting with the companies of the region to know the project, to know the young people, and also the New Education Forum. It was in Brussels. It was celebrating in Brussels every single year. In these cases, we are giving to the European Union the point of view of the young people in these cases. So I think it's quite useful. And also, as I said, a lot of human resources department, a lot of companies, they give them like a speech, motivational seminars to give them tips how to develop your CV, how to complete your profile in LinkedIn and so on. The best of this project were the results. The results were that the 80% of the total number of participants in Spain, we have 474, because at the beginning it was 300 more or less each country. But with the COVID restrictions, Ireland has a lot of problems with the outdoors. And also we discovered that in Cantabria they are quite receptive to this methodology. So we finally have more participants than we expected at the beginning. The 53% have found a job, 49% have restarted their studies, and the 18% are actively looking for employment. So I think the results are talking for the project itself. This is a little overview of the figures of the project. that the Spanish, as I said, more than the other. The gender, it was quite balanced, I have to say. And then the studies are, as you see, medium, basic, depends. Um, well, as I said, the added value of this project, new experience, the action plan, the possibility to share experience with other people that they don't know at all. We try to configure all the groups, trying they are not to know each other at all. So it's fantastic because at the end of the expedition, they are like brothers and sisters, and they love a lot, and they have the WhatsApp group, and it's amazing. The key aspect of the success, as I said, they are sleeping alone. The tents are individual because they have to reflection about what they are doing during the day. The physical exercise, this not it was not so hard because there are a lot of people that they don't have resistance in, but it's physical experience also, and they need to collaborate actively with it. The contact with nature, the self cooking, all of them have their own tools and their own food, and they have to cook for themselves. And then no technology. I think it's one of the key aspects. At the beginning, is like we are. Of course, the trainers have a mobile phone just for emergencies and so on, and for doing the pictures. But consistent giving them, letting them out of their comfort zone and not being in Instagram, not anything is going to to give them any other thing that the nature. So it's that's one of the key points. And I have this video. I don't know if you can hear it. Mm, but as you can see,
No,
it's beautiful places like Picos Europa.
we cannot hear it, but well,
It's music, so
so it's
uh,
the
yeah,
music is okay.
yeah, it's the music. I think they are speaking. I don't know if afterwards I can share you the link for the video in YouTube. So that's only for you to know how the experience is, and I think it's quite worth it. I'm enthusiastic of this project, I have to admit, because I live very close to this project, and I was in Cantabria with them. And the images are reflecting the activities they are developing and the cohesion of the group. So I think it's fantastic. This is the trainer, one of the trainers, is the director of the expedition. They are some of the
Mamen,
trainers.
can
Yes,
I ask you a question during
yes,
the video,
sure.
just to
Yeah.
take advantage of the time? The outdoors activities had a certain focus on employability, on employment, for example,
Yes.
setting goals for the employment or reflecting with a
Yes.
reflection
The
exercise of
reflection is, yeah, the reflection, well, they have dynamics during the process, but the first reflection is to create the action plan. So, I mean, I am, imagine, I am unemployed. I don't know how to do with my life. So I have like the basic studies, but I love photography. What can I do with this? So trainers are oriented towards what you do. Do you really want to be a photographer? Do you have the tools for that? And after the outdoors, they have the action plan under the arm, and they have, okay, I would like to be a photographer. And then during the coaching, the coach give them tips to try to find funds for startups, or try to find employees related to photography, or a course, or new studies that you consider it's okay for you if you want to be a photographer. And during the mentoring, it's only during 6 months, a little bit support just in case they have any doubts or how are you and so on. And that's all.
Thank you. Thank you,
I
Maman.
don't know if any of you have any other questions.
We will have a space at the end, but if you want to solve
Okay,
one doubt now, you can, of course.
thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We will continue with our winner in the category of social labor inclusion. So Ana Maria Giordano from Lazarel is going to explain the good practice. So thank you, Ana Maria.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Alicia, for this opportunity and nice to see you again. I'm gonna try to share my screen with all of you. Can you hear me
Yeah.
correctly?
Mm.
Okay.
Here
Are
we
you
are.
all seeing
Okay.
the screen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Lazzarella is a social cooperative supporting the social and professional reinsertion of women. It was founded in 2010 in the Pozzuoli female prison. This is an index of what we're going through very quickly today. And it was we started with the idea of creating a coffee roastery behind the walls because there were not many examples of working addressed at female prison in Italy. And above all, there was no example of a coffee roastery, while we do have a very good tradition of artisanal production of coffee in Naples, and in particular is a social link between people when they want to hang out or go chatting. So we thought of taking the idea of producing coffee and transforming in something that could also transform people who had marginalized opportunities back at the time. So what we tried to do first of all was to increase the opportunities that women in prison could access, because we do have many negative records in Italy, and especially in my region. One of the negative records that we have is women unemployment. So less than one woman out of two access jobs in the regular market. And this, of course, creates inequalities and a real urge to access economic means. Most of the times, women barely have their personal bank account because they're highly dependent on other people, especially their partners or their family relatives. And what we have noticed by being in prison is the link between gendered violence and criminality. Because too often, women that end up in prison are there not because of crimes that they have committed themselves, but either because they were poor, so they entered the criminal circuits in order to access the economic means, or because they try to cover their relatives, such as their brothers or fathers or their partners' crimes. And so this was an opportunity to give them more chances to access the regular job, because not many people know, but being in prison is one of the expense that women have to afford, and men as well, when they are in prison. So everyone has to pay to be in prison. In Italy, this rent is about 120 euros per month to stay in prison, which means that people who cannot afford this expense exit prison with a debt that then will have to repay. So giving them an opportunity to access a regular job while in prison was also coming from the idea that, of course, once they would be out, it would be easier for them to access the regular job market, but also to reduce the debt that they had on their shoulders. So what we did was establishing a connection with small cooperatives in several countries in the global south in order to have a double fair trade. So we take coffee beans from small cooperatives, and we're trying to look for one that is exclusively women cooperative so that we can even strengthen the link of women in the production of coffee. And then we use the coffee and transform it in the coffee roastery that we have in prison. Of course, the beneficiaries of the project are women incarcerated that can access um, benefits to work. This normally happens when they have reached the 2/3 of their sentence. And since we started, we were able to hire more than 80 women, so regularly employing them. including 4 women with a migratory background and 56 residents of the province of Naples. And what we've noticed is that it actually works. Like when you offer opportunities to work to women in prison, then they go out and they do not re-enter criminal circuits. They do not commit crimes again, because in this way they have skills that probably they had forgotten about, and new skills that they have acquired through training and job with us. And in this way, they do not need to recommit crimes because they can access normal jobs for which we offer references to new employees. Then these are our products. And then we opened a bistro in the historical center of Naples in 2020. Of course, that was tough because it was the year of coronavirus, but nonetheless, we were able to open this place where we were able to hire more women and finally providing them with the opportunity to go out of prison, so to access more benefits, go out of prison in the morning, coming back to prison at night. So while restoring, of course, the connection with the public and providers and customers, what they were actually restoring was basically the relational skills, their soft skills that, of course, prison was taken out of them in the years of detention. This was an extremely amazing experience that is still running out. And the goal is, of course, to provide training, professional growth, and relationship buildings. And then very recently, we opened a chocolate laboratory within prison. So we basically trained women on the art of producing chocolate. This was because we really liked the link between chocolate and coffee, and it enters in the same double fair trade link that I was telling you a few minutes ago. These are a range of our products. We started last year, this year in April, so during Easter time, and those are the chocolate eggs that were also awarded by Gambero Rosso for their creativity. They're very artistic, and you can see also our chocolate bonbons. They're very nice. And then we opened a social cleaning. This idea came from the fact that we had the training course in prison for facility management in collaboration with Wonderful Italy, which is leading in the sector of hospitality in Italy, but especially in Naples, and with another organization which is called Clean Sicily, that was created by a woman that was first victim of violence and decided to open her own startup. So we took advantage of this collaboration and we did this training course within prison. And at the end of it, all the women that participated had the opportunity to do a stage directly with Wonderful Italy. After that, we saw that they were so excited about what they were doing. They really liked it. And so we thought of creating a small startup within our own organization, giving birth to the social cleaning that is now hiring 4 people. Of course, we have an attention to sustainability at social level, of course, but also environmental level. So all the activities that we do have a particular attention to the environment. For example, in the coffee roastery, we only use packaging which is completely recyclable, while most of the times coffee packages go to the waste because they cannot be recycled. Or, for example, in the social cleaning, we do the delivery of blankets and sheets and towels with a bike rather than using other high emission transport means. And about our future, we have a lot of ideas in our mind, and we collaborate with many organizations at European level. Our idea in terms of business is, of course, increasing the production of coffee and chocolate so that we can have more revenue to reinvest in the social cooperative. In terms of like new ideas that we want to develop, of course, there is the idea of opening more bistro all around Italy, but why not also somewhere else in Europe? Because we already have a lot of connections in terms of selling our products abroad. So it might be an idea to activate new points. And of course, transferring these models to other European countries that can actually implement similar initiatives because maybe their laws allow them to do so would be nice. And also we are thinking of founding our own laundry to empower the social cleaning by collaborating with other private entities. and increasing the number of women that we might hire. And another idea that we have is opening a shelter for women, because most of the times women that exit prison do not really have a place where to go back. Sometimes it's because they have a migratory background, which means while in prison they have lost the right to be in Italy, so they end up without documents, or because their families were not, the ideal context where to come back, or because maybe they were living with their abusive partners and they don't want to go back because they don't feel safe. So what we have in mind is opening a shelter for them so that we can accommodate their needs, and then they can also enjoy and work with us, or continuing working with us. These are our sales network, just in case you want to, take part to what we're doing directly and see all the network that we have in place. And these are our contacts in case you want to reach us for anything. And I also want to add there, in terms of our future projects, we've just been in Spain very recently. I came back yesterday, and we were really amazed at the program of restorative justice that Spain is implementing within prison. And we think it would be very nice to try and enlarge this collaboration at European level to create a network of restorative justice that might implement restorative justice programs also in Italy in a very structured way, because I thought it was really powerful to see what is going on in Spain, and now beautifully you are providing people in prison with this opportunity of growth. So thank you, and let's stay in touch with all of you.
Thank you, Anna. Yes, beside that, the opportunities of exchanging experiences with these kind of institutions, no, they are particularly special in terms of fostering employment and so on. I think you are a very good example on how to incorporate the social business inside the third sector organization, because you have a lot of startups in your organization, so they are a really good example with a great impact and great collaborations with the entity, with the penitentiary institution. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
And we keep in touch for the future. And we will have the study visit. I will tell the people later. Okay, so let's go for the next. Javier Sagredo is coming from the University of Salamanca, and he's going to tell us about the D2 InnoLab. So thank you, Javier.
Muchas gracias. Thank you, Alicia, for this invitation. Actually, I was having a really nice coffee from Colombia, enjoying this presentation. So, in a way, and I want to explain, Alicia, that we are more in the learning side. It was a pleasure and it's a pleasure to be here, mainly because our movement, and I would like to call it like that, it's a movement that, in a way, is very interested in learning about all these processes for social and economic integration, because we are actually trying to put a resource for the international community out there regarding a sector that has been really resistant to change and has generated a lot of problems in many communities. I'm going to share. I'm sorry.
Can you share the screen or not? Because sometimes when as we have the option of webinar,
I'm trying to share, yeah.
It disappears if you enter as a participant. Not, but I think I have it.
I don't know if you can see the presentation.
No.
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 Let's see. Okay, let's see now. Can you see it right now?
No, Javier. If you want, you can send it to me and I can share it for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to, it allows me to share, it says window or the screen. So I'm trying to actually set it up for
The screen, perhaps it can work better.
You don't see it there? No.
No.
All right. Let me send it to you. Alicia, if you want to, give the head to the following presentation,
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
So that we don't waste time.
Okay. Don't worry. Okay, let's go for giving the floor to Becky now. But Becky, sorry, Becky, you were like.
That's no problem.
Okay, Becky, are you ready to tell us about your project, the Craft Hub Italian?
Yeah, of
case
course.
study? Okay.
Okay, no problem. And what I might do, Alicia, just to avoid problems, is share with you in the chat the video, and when the time comes, if I could ask you to share so we can get the audio right.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. So for some reason I can't share a chat. I can't send the chat. Okay. Okay, no problem. I will just go ahead. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you can send me Becky the video.
Okay. Yes.
By email or something like that. Well,
Yeah, I will do that now.
You can.
Okay. So thank you, everybody, and thanks for inviting us to be part of this presentation. And the case studies that you've presented up until now are really inspiring. So thank you. So we are from the south of Italy as well. We're from Matera in Basilicata. And what we want to share today is experimenting that we did with a Creative Europe project that we were partners of over the last 4 years, and the decisions that we made to experiment with our activities in Italy specifically, which has then inspired numerous spin-offs and is continuing to inspire us to develop some of the ideas further. Okay, just very quickly, Matera Hub, we focus on fostering sustainable local development by harnessing the creative and cultural sector, people and local heritage. That's our core business. But we have recently begun to specifically focus on how the creative and cultural sector can be harnessed to promote innovative social inclusion and empowerment pathways for both groups and individuals, because it's just well, I mean, you guys do it every day, and it's just a lovely area to develop and understand the potential. Just very quickly, a presentation on the project that we had. So the Craft Hub project was a 4-year project. Its focus really was to understand how to support craft in the future, find a pathway for the future of craft that is in line with sustainable techniques and the transformation in terms of the digital society, and the opportunities also to connect with industry. An international partnership, as all European projects, of course. Matera Hub was the Italian partner. The focus was on mobility for professionals, for building pathways, audience development to encourage new makers or new enthusiasts or new professionals to discover craft, and also to explore the power of craft as an engagement tool also for vulnerable groups, and then capacity building to upskill existing craft professionals. Okay, our focus was on community outreach craft workshops. We ran many, over 30, 36 actually, different types of workshops, and they were harnessed to really provide concrete professional growth for local practitioners. And there, our specific focus were on the craft practitioners that didn't have the skills or the support mechanisms to really understand how to sell their craft and their skill. So typically craft practitioners that didn't have VAT numbers, that were working cash in hand in markets, and helping them develop a training pathway to explore new opportunities and find new audiences. We also use the community outreach workshops to address the continuous need that there is in society to explore inclusive practices and encourage social inclusion. The beneficiaries that we had were many craft practitioners and also vulnerable groups. So we worked with patients from a local recovery unit for addiction, which was a really lovely pathway that inspired many different methodologies and how we could break the ice and help reintegration of those people into the community through craft workshops. We also collaborated with an organisation that employs actually young adults with Down syndrome and also detainees from a local prison as well, working together with another organisation. So the key to our experimentation was the collaboration between local players from diverse sectors. That's the element that we found innovative with our experimentation and that we are driving forward in the future. So we worked at bringing together creative professionals and supporting organisations from the creative and cultural sector, local industry, and finding a way to harness their industrial waste so that it could be transformed through craft practices, and then organisations that support vulnerable groups. And so, as you can see here, the organisations we worked with were Matera 2019, the foundation that managed the year we were European Capital of Culture in Matera. Ego Italiano, they produce sofas worldwide, and we collaborated with them to experiment with their industrial waste that is produced. Made in Carcere is an organisation which I'm sure our partners in Naples know. They are based in Puglia. They employ detainees, women and men, to work on creative sewing using waste textile. And so we collaborated with them. Oltre Arte is an organisation that employs young adults with Down syndrome, and then the Comunità Manuela, which is a centre for people that are recovering from addiction. So it was the experimentation was in bringing all these people together and finding a reason for them, a value added for everybody to be part of the process, creating a virtuous circle. So now I'd like to, could we perhaps, I'll see if it works on my screen.
Let's try. This is the video you have sent.
I'll try if you can hear, because the video says everything, and then I'd like to talk about the impact and the results. So let's see if it works, if the sound works. I hope so.
If not, I can try anyway.
Oh, no, hang on. Okay. So you should be seeing the screen now, and I will try and play it and see if you can hear it. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you putting full screen?
Sorry?
I was saying full screen, but it's okay. Sorry.
Okay. Actually, I think I might turn the volume off and talk through it so that people understand it. Okay. We developed
We cannot hear you, Becky.
The workshops.
We cannot hear you, Becky.
And we created a pathway for the members of the community and various also provided security. Other interesting aspect of the presentation was that we discovered that young adults with Down syndrome, with members of the community, there were no conditions, there was no prejudgment, there was an immediate allowed the members we noticed they remain isolated, they don't often come out, they remain process to actually bring them out into the spaces in town so that they can play. And we introduced them to a series of different workshops all sustainable using recycled plates, the town, we could also
Io mi chiamo Michele e faccio parte della comunità Emanuele che sta a Salandra. Sono di Matera, però sono quasi 10 mesi che sto in comunità e stiamo facendo dei lavori interiori su di noi. La prima cosa che ho notato è stata la fiducia che ci hanno dato a noi, perché difficilmente quando uno parla con delle persone che hanno delle dipendenze come la mia, difficilmente ha la fiducia da parte di sconosciuti. Poi ci ha fatto scoprire la realizzazione dei materiali di stoffa che sono stati scartati dai divani, dai sortifici, e quindi con quello creare degli oggetti che possono risultare nuove, sotto nuova forma, una nuova vita, no? E quello, secondo me, è quello che a noi della comunità ci ha fatto molto piacere, perché è come se dava una nuova vita anche a noi, perché la tossicodipendenza mi ha portato via. Invece oggi ho scoperto che posso riuscire a fare altre cose che manualmente per me sembravano irrealizzabili. E questo devo fare un ringraziamento allo staff della comunità che ci ha dato la possibilità e a chi ha creduto in noi come il gruppo di Matera Hub.
Sono molto bello e divertente, questa esperienza è stata veramente fantastica e a me mi piace di lavorare con gli altri.
Okay, so I hope you followed the audio and the subtitles. I'm sorry if the audio didn't work very well, but let me now just give you some more details about that. I'll get back to the presentation. Okay. Can you see the presentation okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I mean that was the experience that we developed for the community from Emanuela. But we also developed multiple pathways of professional growth to understand what potential we could harness in the future. So let me just share some of the things that we did. With the local craft practitioners that were startups and setting themselves up, we provided mobility opportunities, consultancy to develop new business models, identify new target groups, and commission them to also develop specific workshops which we could then use and introduce into our various target groups locally, including the community. We also supported a number of craft practitioners that were starting up and weren't yet established by financing opportunities to develop, for example, professional videos, which they could then use to promote their work. We also harnessed local craft practitioners to help us curate additional activities under the project. So, for example, we ran a residency on how to transform industrial waste from the sofa manufacturing company, and the curators that we engaged to do that were craft practitioners that were local, and we designed a 3-step upskilling training pathway for them. One of the results of the residency was the creation of a prototype by a local craft practitioner, Georgia, who at the time didn't have a VAT number. She does now. And because of the residency, she was able to experiment with material using industrial equipment that she didn't normally have access to. And she created a product called the cuckoo. So the cuckoo, this is a local symbol in Matera. It's a wooing whistle, basically very historical. It's normally made out of ceramics. And she created a revisited version using the industrial waste from the sofa manufacturing company, including the interior filling. This product was actually purchased by the company Ego Italiano. It's now become a commercial product. And what we did was that we guided the artisan, connected her with Made in Carcere, who employ local prisoners for creative sewing, and transformed the process of making the cuckoo into a semi-industrial one so that it could be produced by local prisoners. So today, this cuckoo is actually produced by the local prisoners in Matera in collaboration with Made in Carcere, and it's sold commercially worldwide. So that's a lovely example of the potential that we see in creating synergies between industry, third sector, and the creative sector. Another experimentation that we did was with a member of the community, Emanuela. Emanuela, during his treatment in the community, he became very interested in 3D printing. And he also decided to follow a course online to become an instructor in 3D printing. So we decided with Emanuela to engage with him professionally and to run a series of workshops on 3D printing with local schools in the area of Matera, which was actually a really wonderful experience because it gave Emanuela, who was at the end of his treatment period, an opportunity to basically build self-confidence and realize that he could do this as a profession. We gradually built up the experience, starting off with the very small groups, building on to larger groups with more complex teaching methodologies to provide an opportunity for Emanuela to, I guess, get into the role and help him feel empowered so that he could then continue to teach in the future. And that's a very important element for reintegration, as we know, obviously, listening to the examples of people also that are detainees in prison. Just to finish off, in terms of the innovative, sustainable and scalability aspect of this experimentation, for us, two aspects: the methodologies that we experimented with on promoting social inclusion and how to engage with vulnerable groups, mixing different vulnerable groups and having an ice-breaking methodology was really important. And also the methodologies on curating the local ecosystems of organizations between industry, craft, and organizations that support vulnerable groups. That was something else that we are continuing to develop with other projects that we are currently implementing. So there we are.
Thank you, Becky. I really like the cuckoo. I want one for me. And it's also very interesting that there are some connections already, well, maybe between Target groups and other entities. We are always saying the same, no? It's our slogan. We are better together. Sometimes you need the collaboration with others, and it fosters your innovation as well. Just to talk with others is just a starting point for the improvement and making innovative things. So the problems we are tackling are very complex, and we need this collaboration. Okay, let's go for the Javier D2 in the lab. Are you ready? I'm going to share your PowerPoint.
Yes, and I'll try to fly over it. And thank you, Becky. It was also very, very inspiring. I actually get
True.
some of the conclusions, and we're better together, which is something that is also ingrained in what we're trying to do with the two in the lab. Actually, I was talking about the difficulties of a sector that, in a way, is a sector that it's not used to innovate, and it's been generating, I think, one of the biggest and oldest conflicts that we have right now in the world. Alicia, if you can go forward with the presentation. I just have some food for thought. If you can just go ahead. You see the global cancer death rate in the last 30 days has lowered a lot. I don't know why this isn't showing, but in a way, global drug-induced deaths have been rising for many years. I had some graphs there that not appear anyway, but in other health problems, we do have some evolution and better results, not in relation with drugs, and in a way, it's a picture of the failure of many of the policies that we've been putting forward to actually deal with it. Also within a really tough prohibition framework that the international regime actually sets as an obligation for all countries. Go ahead if you want, Alicia.
Okay, I was checking if why the graphic is not.
We can go in terms of comparison of data with death tolls. You have there some of the information on recent conflicts, and you have some data only in one country. You have data there in Mexico, where you had between 2006 and 2021 around 350,000 assassinations linked to this war on drugs. That's the population of Alicante, Nice, Bonn, or Florence in terms of comparison. And you had 150,000 soldiers displayed. In the Philippines, where we also had a very tough policy on drugs, we had, and with a very strong connection with police forces, to more than 20,000 assassinations in the last years. So, next. In terms of incarceration, you have terrible numbers there in the left of all those countries. In the European Union, for example, in terms of comparison with other crimes, you have countries like Sweden. That data is from 2022. We had a third of prisoners are incarcerated by drug-related crimes. And in terms of the power of organized crime, the estimated market value it's 500. I would say the US will be billions, but it's 500,000 million. And as a reference to the annual income of one of the organizations that is controlling between 60 and 80% of EU cocaine import is near 60,000 million euro. You can imagine what is the power, the real power of some of these organizations, and how our democratic governance and many other dimensions of our life is in a way at risk with these economic powers. Next, Alicia. This is the increase of deaths. I'm sorry, with drug use disorder, people with drug use disorder in the world. It has raised 121% in the last 30 years only in North America. In the world is an increase of 34%, which is also food for thought in terms of what is the actual impact of present policies. Next. there was an additional graph there, but so why we're mixing drug policy and innovation? As I said, this is a sector that is very resistant to change, and where the results of drug policy are always put in terms of seized drugs or the arrested people, but in a way you have a huge amount of negative impacts of drug markets and drug policy interventions, which have been traditionally very tough on the weak and weak on the tough. It's been strongly felt in many vulnerable communities, and it primarily affects poor individuals and families with fewer options. I don't know, some of you work with people in prison, and the picture that you have here, there, and on the other side of the Atlantic is actually a picture of, poor people connected with the lower links of the added value chain in the drug market. So, in a way, this is impacting very negatively many of the communities and actually important aspects of their development in both in rural and urban areas in many of our countries. Next. So we are putting forward as I said before, a movement to invite those people willing to innovate in this complex issue, and actually we're looking forward to have a new generation of drug policies trying to be more effective, more humane, with better results. And it's a sector that requires, of course, a look with multidimensional interventions, and that's why we are here today. In a way, for us, employment, economic inclusion is I would say, a fantastic and necessary engine to actually have better results in many of the dimensions linked with drugs. Both if you think about populations, families, and people that are connected with the economic. The illicit economy of drugs, and also related with people having drug use problems, and the need to actually reintegrate in a I would say more balanced way of life in terms of, and some of your interventions have touched some of these groups. Next. So what we do is we're putting forward I would say a very important political reference for us. The 2030 agenda is an agreement, a global agreement. All countries have signed it, and in a way is a shared vision of what progress means for humanity. And it's a nice way also to actually engage into conversations with many governments or local governments in terms of the incoherence that many of the drug policy results have with development results also. So in a way, we can engage into conversation just looking at these negative effects on development results, and not enter a more complex initiation of those conversations related with legalization, decriminalization, and other aspects that have I would say, a stronger connection in terms of ideology settings. And for us, it's a way to actually engage with even more conservative governments or actors that have, in a way, I think, an ear to sustainable development aspects, and it's a conversation that we can open with all kinds of governments. Next. Of course, for us, sustainable development is a nice umbrella under which we have approaches that are based in human rights, based on gender equity, based on citizen security, based on all the different dimensions of sustainable development that are important also for all of us. We have a priority in the most vulnerable and fragile people, populations, and communities. So for us, it's also true the fact that we are going to put forward a focus on not leaving anybody behind. These are the last miles of poverty, really the toughest areas in terms of also public policy. So we're trying to actually invite institutions and policy actors. And when we talk about policy actors, we include all the different social, economic, and academic actors, also the communities, to be engaged into these innovation processes. Next. So this is a little bit the objective of InnoLab, to actually engage into innovative interventions and learn from that, and also assist policy stakeholders actually in the use and the management of these innovation tools, for them to be also autonomous and independent in the way of promoting and implementing innovative actions. That's why we call it a movement. Our cooperation is in a way tiptoed, giving some methodological tools and technical assistance, but the main protagonism is from local actors and also the local priorities and local capacities to innovate in this area. Next. So I already explained a little bit the main key aspects. So we want to work in drug public policy with a 21st century model, not in a vertical 19th century model of state, and to be able to lower down in a very horizontal way in the territory the articulation with all the different actors that need to be connected to actually deal with these complex issues. It is a methodology. We are using a methodology of social innovation that, in a way, it's something very useful to address complex development problems in the territory. And this is one of them. This is one of the wicked problems that you find everywhere. Actually, I was yesterday in Madrid talking to the local, some of the local authorities, and the difficulties of dealing with some of these issues. We're talking about one of the, I would say, most famous spaces in the city connected with well, high marginality, vulnerability, and drug use and drug open markets in Madrid. So that's a little bit where we're focusing. We're actually provoking. I think it's a nice provocation, inviting local authorities to give the possibility of start working with us in those spaces. Next, yes, of course, we are in a way doing this process with, I would say, with full opening of the methodological and working tools. We have a fantastic set of tools to actually work complexity, to make it more, I would say, understandable, while complex. And I think it's something that is a really a plus in those processes, to be able to actually strongly support all the process and the methodology for the different actors and the community to actually understand those complexities and be able to open these innovation spaces with this in mind. Next. Next, Alicia. Well, the geographic scope for us is mainly in those very vulnerable communities where you have, many difficulties linked to development, and where drugs are present and coexist, giving actually additional problems. Also, where we have and where these political windows of opportunity are open, many politicians are not that eager to actually open up spaces for innovation in this area. So, in a way, for us, it's also very important to be very attentive of those opportunities at the political level, because there is also the need to actually invest some of that political capital into these processes. Next. Well, we're looking at all areas of drug policy. One of the main focus of what we're going to do is the generation of sustainable livelihoods and formal economic inclusion, both in rural and urban communities linked to these issues, and also to focus on sustainable and inclusive local economic development. Connecting social inclusion policies and local economic development for us is going to be key. Without that economic engine, it's very difficult to actually have better results into adding people and making them transit from the margins to be full participant on communities and on society. So in a way, we're going to be looking at the most difficult places. I was very happy to see that you also are focusing on those kinds of groups and populations. And for us, your processes are going to be also a very nice reference. Next. So we are going to work in 3 different levels. One of them has to do with the innovation lab in terms of development innovative experiences at the local and national level in all those different areas of drug policy. So we are already engaging with different countries in Latin America. We're going to start working in January in Colombia and Mexico, especially at the local level, trying to put forward these social innovation platforms for improving drug policy results. And it is something that it's already ongoing within the margins of a European cooperation project I managed last 2 years. We opened that innovation space, and it has generated already 5 different labs, 2 in Colombia, in Cali and Santander de Quilichao, linked to youth in very vulnerable environments and with very preoccupying injected heroin drug use. So it's kind of a very complex environment. Also another one in Peru, linked to a warning system for human rights defendants in indigenous areas in risk of being invaded by drug trafficking organizations. Excuse me. And another one in Chile, linked to a series of suicide patterns of youth under the supervision of state, both in the penal and the protection systems. And it was a really persistent problem in Chile and linked to drug use. So we started also an innovation lab in the southern part of Chile to deal with these problems. And another one that is starting right now in Montevideo, linked to women participating into micro trafficking and also with their families, in terms of connecting them also with other economic alternatives. And it's something that is coming out now. As you see, this is a project that is in I would say, a higher level in terms of we are opening spaces for innovation. So we understand that some of the areas offering possibilities, economic possibilities, social inclusion possibilities for many people, it should be part of the solution. But in a way, they are the local communities and the local actors, the ones that are going to be defining priorities and also the innovative interventions that they will put forward to deal with those issues. Next. So the methodology is I would say a basic social innovation methodology. We're working with a very interesting partner. It's also a public university in Spain. It's the University of the Basque Country. They have a foundation called Aguirre Center, and they are specialized in social innovation. They have a fantastic experience working in complex development problems in more than 20 countries in the world. They have been partnering with the United Nations Development Program, with UNDP. And their model has been also, in a way, taken by UNDP to keep working their accelerator labs everywhere in the world. They put forward the basic elements that, in a way, had to do with. Yes, go ahead, Alicia.
Because you have like a few minutes more.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. The next slides. This is in a way the different circles that keep repeating themselves, but in a way they are the basic elements of this methodology. There's a deep mapping and listening process, and those are I would say complex in terms of the amount of information that they actually gather, and they are put forward in a I would say an anthropological framework. They actually generate all these narratives, both visible and hidden, to be able to validate them and to generate a collective sense making and activating collective intelligence, to be able to pass to these other phases that had to do with innovation, with co-creation, prototyping, and scaling, in a I would say in a circular way of repeating themselves, because at the end, these platforms they have the objective to stay in place, to stay in the territory, and to be able to use them not only for this, I would say, complex drug related problems, but to many other problems that are complex in the communities. And in a way, I would say it's part of an architecture for dealing with these issues that could be very, very useful, both for institutions and both for those other stakeholders. Next. Next. So I will try to go as fast as possible, Alicia.
Okay.
This is part of the tools. This has been developed by Aguirre with the Supercomputing Center in Barcelona, which is helping develop these tools. This is a tool that is given to all those processes at the local level, and they are also open source, so they can adapt it to the needs of each specific project. And it's a fantastic tool, not only for management and evaluation of those processes, but also with a very powerful visualization capacity in terms of facilitating. There's a play button. Okay, there. Visualization capacity to be able to understand better, I would say, that complexity, and to be able to, in an easier way, have an idea of that complexity that actors, project processes, factors, and their relationships, and also about the narrative. So those are some of the things that allow for us to deal with this complexity and be able to actually grab it in order to put forward those innovative processes. Next. Same thing with deep listening. That's where all those narratives emerge in terms of, you've touched some of those. There you go. Some of all the information is being in a way systematized and also generating this kind of profiles where actually you put forward the complexity of the connections of narratives with the problem, and also with the solutions. At the end of this initial process, we come out with a people-based portfolio linked to the different narratives, and it is to local actors to actually decide how to do it and how to start. There is an evaluation, I would say, lens on top all the time. This is about learning. So this evaluative evaluation, actually, it's a I would say an element that is on top of the whole process, and it's also evolving in relation with the different changes that also the phenomenon and the different relationships change also in the community. So it's also very adapted to deal with complexity. The other thing is we're going to work to actually transfer this approach of innovation to drug policy actors. We're going to try to build and in a way generate capacity for others to become multipliers of this innovation. We will be developing a global network of innovation on drug policy linked to, well, all the people that have a will to engage into this kind of processes and exchange information, best practices, and evidence about the whole thing. Next. And then here from the university with a very, I would say, wide international network, we are generating 3 levels of teaching, research, and also public policy debates on drug policy. We think that the heaviness of the problem in many places asks for these public debate platforms to be very active also, because as you have seen at the beginning, the results of the policy are so dramatically negative that in a way it's very, very important to put forward also the results of these innovative processes into the debates and for discussion. No? Next. Yeah, well, those are some other things that will be connected with this innovative platform. We are actually opening up here in Salamanca with a network of many other universities and policy actors, a chair on drug policy and sustainable development that will be giving its first steps at the beginning of 2025. Next. So yeah, next steps. We are actually now displaying the whole process. We're going to have an initial financing package to start the whole process for next semester, but we will be opening quite soon in January with the participation of I would say important policy actors also on this issue, and we will be able to start opening up the possibility to participate in this movement to many other actors. So thank you, Alicia, for the opportunity. As you see, it's something that is going to feed on all the ideas that you're putting forward in this network. That's, to me, also the meaning of being here today. But for us, I think it's very, very important to be able to focus on the connection of those two big processes that need to be strengthened into this public policy sector, which is social inclusion policies with big, strong, and also I would say inclusive economic policies that in a way have to work together. So I think in a few months, in a few years, this is going to change, and that's the hope we have. Change the perspective of the discussion also on drug policy.
Yeah, more holistic and more multi-actor at the end. So we are willing to hear about the starting of this network and your work, because you can be a very good host of another projects and a space for this innovation and exchange for some of the actors we are here. So I hope you can create this lab in the not in Spain only, no? You are open to other countries, no?
We actually came out globally because it's a pioneering.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
global level. So we are offering these resources and tools to everybody that wants to start. The other thing is we're going to reach, to get you connected, because one of the, I think, key strategic efforts here is to actually reduce the visibility and the weight of public security actors in this policy, or justice actors, and to increase the financing, the presence, and the work of social and development actors. So
exactly.
In a way, those are the ones that need to be taking the central stage into this policy.
This problem, it has a lot of connections with another ones, so it's true that it's really necessary, and thank you for your work. It's really interesting, and we keep in touch as well.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go for the last good practice, Dimitris. He is very active in these webinars. It's the third time he's presenting a good practice, but I think Odisea has a very interesting project and it deserves the occasion to give the floor and the space for them as well. So I'm going to share your presentation.
Thanks. I'm sorry for not seeing me. My camera is not cooperating with me today, so sorry for that.
Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm here to support you all. It's my role.
Thank you for facilitating. So, hello everyone. My name is Dimitris Filiotopoulos. I'm a development project manager here in Odisea. So I'm here today to present one of our projects that fall under this category of the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion and the best practices. First of all, I would like to present Odisea. Alicia, you can go through the slides. I'm going to go through them with you as well. So Odisea is a non-profit organization that mainly targets to support vulnerable young people, people that are not in education or training, the famous needs category, people with low incomes, and migrants and refugees. So we have a lot of target groups, let's say, that we provide the vocational and educational training along with our employability services to them in order to connect them to the job market, to job opportunities with companies that we cooperate with. So the main target groups, as I mentioned, the beneficiaries that we first of all, I would like to explain a bit more about how we work. So Odisea has 3 departments. So the first department is the academy. the space where all the courses that we provide, all the vocational and educational training is taking place. The second department is the employability department, where we provide employability services to our beneficiaries, to the people that go through the courses and they are aiming and targeting to find a job. So we try to create CVs, to connect them with companies, to smoothly integrate them into society by finding them a job. And the third department is the department that I'm part of, is the development department. So the development department has as main responsibilities the submission and the implementation of projects, the projects either being nationally funded or internationally funded, so EU projects. We do work a lot with institutional fundings and EU projects. This is the department I'm specifically part of, so the EU department of Odysseia. We submit and we implement EU projects as well. So the main target groups, as I mentioned, are young people that are not in education and training, unemployed, immigrants, refugees, young university graduates. But the main thing that we are proud of is that close to 50%, 41%, I think this year is going to be even higher, of the population that we serve are women. I've included, Alicia, if you want to go through the slides, I've included some pictures for you to see our spaces. I've not included the youth center that we currently opened, but I'm here for you if you want to reach out to me to show you a bit more and to tell you a bit more about the youth center that we opened. The youth center is in Thessaloniki, which is the second biggest city in Greece. The main offices are in Athens. And now I'm gonna have a few words about the project that we submitted, which is called You Have a Second Chance. So we work, this is a project that is privately funded by a foundation here in Greece, the Latsis Foundation, which is a very big foundation that resides here in Greece and that is taking action here in Greece. We also collaborated with, because of the nature of the project, as I'm going to explain, we collaborated with Kethea and Rasi, which is the biggest therapeutic institute here in Greece, and with NextFab Foundation as well, who are a partner with Latsis Foundation. So going through the project, Odysseia implements an unprecedented, in the Greek context, holistic approach for the social integration of imprisoned and released former users of psychoactive substances. So the project has 3 phases. The phase 1 is that we get in the detention centers along with our partner Kethea, which I mentioned is the biggest therapeutic and post-therapeutic institute in Greece. We get in the facilities, in the detention centers, and we provide vocational and educational training in cooking, woodworking, jewelry making, and also digital skills, some ICT skills, as we call it, based on the project, on the projects and the academy space that we run outside the prison. So we try to replicate our system in the prison. The second phase is social integration. So we'll link Odyssea's services for soft skills, for vocational training, in order to target when they get out of prison, or if they are out of prison, freshly out of prison, to find them a job, to find them a better place in our society, to reintegrate them. And Kethea also helps with some therapeutic and post-therapeutic support, some sessions with the people, the beneficiaries that we serve. And the following phase is the post-treatment supervision. So after we provide the courses and after we maybe link them with work opportunities and job placements, for 6 months after we do all of that, we provide them again with Kethea post-therapeutic, let's say, treatment and supervision. And we connect them, as I said, with professional opportunities. So the learning courses that we've implemented during the program are both to men and women. So we've accessed also women facilities in detention centers. Here you can see the courses that we did through phase A. So in total we trained 31 people, and in phase B we trained 21 people that were the people that got out recently, and they came to Odysseus space for taking some extra courses or some relevant courses to the first phase, let's say, phase of the project. I've included some stats for you to see. So here you can see the courses and the participants through phase A and phase B. You can see I've divided it for participants inside detention centers and outside detention centers after they've been released from prison. What else? So I've included some of the participants' testimonials. So these are the people that we work with. We want them to be happy. We want them to reintegrate as smoothly as possible into society. So I've included some of the stuff they've mentioned that they've gained or learned or anticipated through the courses. And here are some of their testimonials. I've included them for you to see. I've included some pictures as well from the kitchen assistant and from the computer skills course that we run inside of Korydallos detention center, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, detention center in Greece. There are some videos as well. I don't think we have that much time to go through the videos, but I've included them for you to see. If you want, I can share the presentation with all of you later, or even Alicia can share it with you. So I've included also the vision of the program. As I said, it's a holistic approach. We need to reintegrate the people that are in the facilities, the detention centers, or that are freshly released and they are in need of a job, of a reintegration into society. We offer skills development, we offer employment opportunities, we offer empowerment and agency through our collaboration with KETHEA as well. Social inclusion to reintegrate them into society, as I said, legal services to know some of their labor rights. Some labor specialists come into our facilities while they're doing their courses and inform them. So let's say they are like introductory courses to legal services that they might they might stumble upon when they exit and they enter society again. The program locations are Korydallos DC here in Athens, Avlonas right outside Athens, Eleonas Women DC, Malandrino, where also women are included, Amphissa. And what I would like to mention is that the program used to run in 2023 and now it's running again for 2024, and it also expanded, let's say, to 3 more facilities during 2024, and these are the bolded ones, so Amphissa, Malandrino, and Avlonas. So what else? I think this is it. Mainly, I've included the medical mobile medical unit so that you can see that we also try to offer the therapeutic sessions through the unit. So we entered with the unit that we already possess in the facilities along with the KETHEA experts. This unit has also helped as a highlight. I would like to say that it has operated in Ukraine for 1 year, and it has helped over 3,500 Ukrainians receive medical services. I'm saying that because it's fully equipped for everything. And this was about it. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. If you want to reach out to me for any possibility of collaboration or anything you might want to explain further or to have a quick chat, I'm here for you. I didn't want to to take much of our time, since time is of essence and it's limited, but yeah, this was it from us. And the third presentation, Alicia Vodisia, in these three webinars is now completed. I think we're participating in everything.
Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you. Well, you are very welcome. Okay, 1 minute or 2 minutes ahead. Well, for the finishing of this webinar, just to give a quick overview of the new approach of the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion. We get further funding for the next 6 years, so we have time, plenty of time to explore more on scaling innovation, not because we are like trying to connect and facilitate connections among entities, and we will focus now on scaling those innovations that are working. So this is a brief overview of the entities we are taking part of the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion. We will try to have more because we want to open this opportunity and resource to any entity working in the social labor inclusion. And well, this new approach will include this element of trying to help the organization to scale in a transnational way. No, we are trying to maintain this transnationality as we are an European network, and some innovation will be scaled in Europe and vice versa. Some innovative solutions in Europe will be scaled in Spain. So we organize this in the best way we can. And but of course we will give services, useful services for the other for the rest of the members, not only those participating in the scale of good practices, but also we will offer this tool for this to support another organization to scale another innovation. So we are going to produce this kind of systematized tools, and well, training on the social innovation processes. Well, we have the best practice, the study visits to the best practice in the social labor inclusion. So we will organize next week the study visit for the cooperative Lazarel. You can scan the QR, so you have more information there. But you have the option also to attend virtually one section of the good practice. So we will facilitate this the kind of connection. So we invite you to write us to the email of the network and ask for this connection. And the same for the one on inclusive entrepreneurship that will be in December, the first week. Okay, so this is the evaluation questionnaire as usual. So please scan it. We are going to send all the presentation and the evaluations by next week. But here you have the opportunity to thank you for sharing here, Ana Maria, your I guess the form. For the study visit in Naples. Okay. But here is the form to evaluate the webinar, but we would like you also to include what kind of connections you are willing to have between these organizations, including, well, presenting the good practices, and also with others you can consider members of the network. So you will have the opportunity to write down which one of the projects you want to connect with, and we will do the best to facilitate these connections. And that's it. This is the web page of the network. This is the email, just in case you need anything. And Ana Maria.
Yeah, sorry, just one question. I was looking at the form you just sent for the feedback, and are we already part as Lazzarelle of the ENI once we have, accessed the call and participated, or do I need to register again? Because I think I've already done it few
I
months
think
ago.
you already done it. So you
Okay, good.
first register the network, and
Okay,
then
cool. I remember.
you are able to
Thank you.
participate in the call. So you are okay. All the work done
Thank
so
you
far.
for everything to everyone.
So we don't have time for questions. So, well, if you want to, well, we can continue, but I don't want to stall more time from your busy agendas. You can include the questions in the form if you want. So thank you all for your collaboration and participation and your interest in projects and work. And I'm sure there are a lot of connections. I'm always trying to, well, this can be connected. So we are very trusted partners here. So let's take advantage of this confidence space and try to collaborate. So once we already know each other, can be better and easier. So thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you
very
Nice
much.
to
Thank you,
see you
Alicia.
again.
Gracias.
Bye all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hasta pronto.
Gracias. Have a good
Thank you all.
weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.